Great offers deserve great edits. Edits that generate you money. Great edits are the border that separates mediocrity with excellence.
Have you seen this insane Instagram channel, Fame.motion? Get this, with just 6 videos uploaded, they've already blown past 23,000 followers, and every single post is pulling in anywhere from 100,000 to a massive 500,000 views. Seeing that kind of explosive growth and quality absolutely inspired me. And that's exactly why we're here today. I want to show you how you can create those same kinds of incredibly high-level professional edits. In this tutorial, I'm going to guide you through the entire process. We'll start with the absolute basics, just a single node, and progressively build our way up to potentially complex setups involving over 100 nodes. I'll explain every single step along the way, so do me a quick favor and hit that subscribe button down below so you don't miss out on more tutorials like this one in the future. All right, enough talk. Let's get started. All right, let's get started by adding the original clip into our timeline so we can try and make the same animation. Now, I'm going to be copying the timing and style from this original clip pretty closely, but definitely feel free to make your own animation choices as we go. So first up, let's recreate that simple background. Go ahead and add a background node, connect it to the media out, and then just change its color to white, just like in the original video. After that, we'll make those initial text words. For that, we will need to add 3 text nodes. Go ahead and add all 3, then connect them together sequentially. Output of the first to the output of the second, output of the second to the output of the third. Then finally, connect the output of the last text node to the output of the background node we just made. Okay, so now let's actually write the words. Start with the first text plus node. Select it, and in the inspector, write great, or your first word. Change the color to black and change the font as well. I'll leave all the presets and fonts I use down in the description for you. So now we need to adjust the size and position to get almost the same look as our reference clip. But of course, this depends on your imagination and how you want it to look. When you're done with the first one, select the second text node and write your second word. Again, change the color and the font, then adjust the size and position as you like. Lastly, move to the third text node and make the same steps. Write the word, set the color and font, and position it. Alright, now to make the same kind of fading effect like you see here. First swap over to the shading tab in the inspector. Then see where the appearance type is set from solid color? Go ahead and change that to gradient. Now in the little gradient editor that shows up, you'll probably need to swap the positions between the black and white color stops. Just drag them around to get the same kind of faded shape you're looking for. After that's done, let's keep things tidy. Select these text nodes and their merge node, then press Ctrl Space to search about the underlay node to make our work organize. Under the inspector selection, select the underlay node itself and press F2 to change the name. Maybe call it intro text. And you can change the color as well if you want. Now, for the animation of this text, it's just a simple fade-in effect. So, to do that, select your first text plus node. Make sure you go to the first frame, frame 0 on your timeline, and then swap to the shading tab, decrease the value of that opacity slider all the way to 0. Then, put a keyframe for opacity. Next, go forward 8 frames to frame 8, and increase the opacity value back to 1, which automatically sets the second keyframe. So now, select the second text plus node, put a keyframe for opacity, drag the slider to make the value 0, then go forward 8 frames and return the value to 1. Now select the third text plus node, put a keyframe for opacity at 0, then go 8 frames forward again and make it 1. After all that, let's smooth it out. Open the spline graph editor. Hold Ctrl to select all 3 text plus nodes in the node tree so their keyframes show up. Then, in the graph tab, make sure all the animation sliders are visible. Now, press Ctrl plus A to select all the keyframes you see, and just press S to smooth them. And while they're selected, press Ctrl plus T to open the smooth section controls. Make sure to lock the ease in and out together using the little chain icon, and then increase the value of easing a bit to give it a nice gentle curve. Then close the spline section. Let's move on to the second animation, which is that right swap transition. For that, we're going to need to use a transform node. Go ahead and add a transform node after the merge node that combines the 3 texts. You'll need to start this animation around frame 27, which is where the animation seems to start in the original clip. Put a keyframe for the center slider. Then go to around frame 60 and increase the X value of the center slider, moving the text way off to the right enough to make sure the text disappears completely from the frame. After that, open the spline editor again, select the keyframes for this transform node, and press S to smooth them. Then increase the value of easing to make sure it starts slow, then goes fast in the middle, then slows down again at the end. Okay, so let's add those 3 videos now. Drag the videos you want to use into the workspace. Connect the output of one video to the output of the next, creating merge nodes until all 3 are connected sequentially. Then connect the output of the last video's merge node before the transform node we created. If you notice the videos are way out of frame or too big, don't worry. To fix that, let's first add a transform node after the videos are merged, but before they connect to the right swap transform. Drag this new transform node to the viewer. To get a better review comparing it with the original video, we can apply the grid in both viewers, your main viewer and the reference viewer. Then on this new transform node, decrease the size until the overall group of videos fits correctly within the frame, matching the reference. Now to position them individually, we need to separate them again temporarily. Add a new transform node for each video before they are merged together. Now, just adjust the X and Y position on each of these individual transform nodes to place each video where you want it within the group. And for the middle one, I will make it bigger using its individual transform node size slider to make a good shape for the composition. Now, for these video clips we've added, I don't want them to start right at the beginning, the very start of the video. I want to start them right when the animation itself gets going. Jump straight away to the action. So I will select each video clip one by one. Then head over into the Inspector tab. In there, you'll find the trim controls. I will drag the start slide of trim forward a little bit, scrubbing through it just to get the right moment of the video where the animation I want actually begins. If you notice in the reference, he adds his name vertically between the videos. So to do that, add a new text plus node to the workspace. Connect its output after the videos are merged. After that, type your text. I will write my channel name and change the color to black. Then swap to the Layout tab, go down to the Rotation section, and change the Z value to 90 degrees to make it vertical. Then move the text using the center controls in the Layout tab to fit the position you need to put it, right there between the videos. For the size, return to the Text section, or Tools, and decrease the size value as you want. After that, press Ctrl plus space to search for the Duplicate node and add it. Now go to the Duplicate Nodes Inspector tab, make 3 copies. Then change the center Y value on the duplicate node to spread the copies out vertically and move each one into place between the videos. Now, to add the same text mirrored on the left side, just add a merge node after the duplicate node. Then, connect the output of the duplicate node to both inputs of your new merge node. So now all you need to do is select your merge node and change the center X value to move the merged foreground copy over to the left side. So, you're done with your logo setup. Let's move on. First up, select all the nodes you just made for this second part, and add an underlay node. Change the name and the color as you like. Okay, let's move to the third animation, the down swap transition. And look at the timeline to see the last keyframe we added, around frame 60. Add another transform node after the right swap transform node. Then go around 2 to 3 frames before that, say frame 57 or 58, and add a keyframe for center. This step keeps your animation moving, ensuring you have no frame where the animation has stopped, creating a continuous flow. So now move on in the timeline to the frame where you want this downward transition to end, around frame 1 and 10. Change the Y value on this new transform node to move everything down, and make sure your videos go completely out of frame at the bottom. Then open the spline editor, select the keyframes for this node, press S to smooth them, and again, increase the value of easing to make sure it starts slow, then goes fast, then slows down again, trying to make it feel the same as the first transition. Before we move to the next step, just let's rename these transition nodes to avoid confusion. Select the first transition, transform node, and press F2, then change the name. I will write it as right. Select the second one we just made, press F2, and rename it as down. Okay, so let's add the text and the money image we see here. Drag the money image into your node graph and connect its output to the output of the right node. Then, add a transform node right after the money image. Place it where you want it to appear before the downward transition starts. Change the position, size, and maybe rotation of the money image itself. After you're done positioning the money, add a new text plus node and connect its output to the output of the transform node that's controlling the money image. This will automatically create a merge node. Now, go to the inspector for this new text plus node and type your words. For me, it's that generate you. Let's move the text down a bit using the layout controls and change the color to black. Change the font to match the style and maybe decrease the tracking a little bit to tighten the letters. After that, right-click in the text input box and choose Character Level Styling. Swap to Modifiers tab. Then, in the viewer, select just the word Generate to change its color and its size independently from the rest of the phrase. So, for that glow inside the text effect, I did search how to make that easily in DaVinci Resolve. And honestly, I didn't find a straightforward way, and the methods I tried to replicate it myself just didn't look right. So I don't like the results. So, if anyone knows how to make the same effect in DaVinci, please write it in the comments. I'd love to know. Let's move on now to make those connecting lines. First, add a background node to the workspace. Then connect its output with the output of the right transform node. Now add a polygon mask node and connect it to the mask input of this new background node. Carefully draw the line using the polygon tool, maybe starting from where the first video was, and ending pointing to the generate word. Go to the polygon mask inspector, uncheck solid, and increase the value of border width to give it some thickness. Now for the animation. Go back around frame 60 just as the right transition finishes. Find the length parameter, decrease the value of length to 0, and put a keyframe. Then go around 3 frames forward and put a keyframe for position. Then go to frame 93 or whenever you want the line animation to finish and increase the value of position to 1. Now return 3 frames back from frame 93 to frame 90 and increase the length value back to 1, setting a keyframe. Then go and open the spline editor, select all the keyframes for both the polygon mask, then press right-click, go to Ease in Cubic. This should make the line draw on smoothly towards the target. Now for adding the other 2 lines, I will add 2 merge nodes and connect them sequentially after the first line's background node. Then I will add 2 transform nodes. Connect the first transform node to the foreground input of the first new merge node, and connect the second transform node to the foreground input of the second new merge node. And then I will connect the output of the original line's background node to the input of both of these 2 transform nodes. This way, we have 3 different copies of the original animated line on screen. So for the first transform node, just go to its inspector and press the vertical flip button. And for the second transform node, just adjust the rotation angle to make it a straight line again. And then change the Y position value using the center slider to fit the place right, maybe pointing to the middle video area. So if you play that animation now, we have it. 3 lines animating together. Okay, let's organize. Select the nodes for the lines and press Ctrl+Space to search for underlay. Change the name and color as you need. Also select the text and money nodes and add another underlay node for them too. After you're done organizing, let's move on to make the text animation for That Generate You. Let's go in the timeline just before the text should appear, maybe around frame 65. Select your That Generate You text node. Then, swap to the Modifiers tab, click on the text input box in the inspector and press Follower. Let's change the order to Inside Out Manual Curve, or maybe just Manual Curve. Now under Manual Curve Timing, select the first word, That, and put a keyframe for Delay by Character. Then press the button, Set First Selected Character Delay. Then select the second word, Generate. Change the Delay by Character value to 8. Meaning it will start 8 frames after that. Then press again the button, Set First Selected Character Delay. And then select your last word, You. Change the delay value to 16 and press the button again. This way is set up to make a fade in for each word sequentially, after an 8-frame delay from the previous one. So now go to the Shading tab for this Text Plus node. Add a keyframe for opacity and decrease the value to 0. Then move a couple of frames forward and increase it again to 1. But now if we play the animation's not quite right for each word individually based on our delay settings. To fix that, open the spline editor. Uncheck the opacity checkbox in the spline view temporarily. Select all the follower delay keyframes we just set, and then find this curve button in the spline editor toolbar that looks like steps. Click that. Now we should have the right animation, where each word fades in after its delay. Okay, for the flickering money animation, I will add a background node and connect it to the output of the transform node that positions the money image, creating a merge node. Then, select the background node and decrease the alpha to 0 to make it transparent. Now, select the Merge node and decrease the value of Blend slightly if needed, but make sure you swap the inputs by pressing Ctrl+T to put the money image in the foreground, green input. Alright, so now, if you notice, that text and the money image might be sitting a bit too far down at the bottom of the screen. To fix that, just select the Transform node that's controlling their position, and use the controls in the inspector, maybe tweaking the Y value to move it up and put it in the right place visually. So now go to the frame where you want the flicker animation to start. Set the blend value to 0 and put a keyframe. Go 1 frame forward and return the blend back to 1. Go 1 frame forward, put it back to 0. Go 1 frame forward also and make it 1 again. So this gives you that quick on-off flicker effect. Oh, and don't forget, select each transform node that has animation and swap to the Settings tab to apply motion blur by checking the box. But for me, during editing, I will probably right-click in the timeline viewer and uncheck high quality and motion blur previews just to make sure the render back doesn't lag. So, after applying motion blur settings for all relevant nodes, let's move to the next moving animation, the up transition. Add another transform node after the down node and rename it with up. Press F2. Then go to around frame 108, which should be just before the last keyframe of the down animation we made. Put a keyframe for center in the up node here. Then move forward in the timeline to around frame 140 and change the Y value on the up node to make sure the video group moves back up into the middle of the screen. As usually, open spline for this node, select the keyframes, press S, and make the animation smooth with easing. So, for the rotation that happens next, add another transform node after the up node and rename it. Go around frame 138, just before the up move finishes, and add a keyframe for rotation angle at 0. Then move to frame 175 and increase the value to 90 degrees. Open the spline editor again to smooth this rotation animation. S key, maybe some easing with Ctrl+T. Okay, for the black slide wipe effect, we need to add a background node. Connect it after the up node. Then, add a rectangle mask node and connect it to the black background node's mask input. Go to frame 130 before the rotation starts, add a keyframe for height, and decrease it to 0. Also, make sure the width is set to 1 full width. Then go to frame 170 as the rotation is finishing, and increase the height back up to around 4.3 or whatever thickness you want the black bar to be. But if you notice the background bar doesn't fit right across the whole screen, maybe it's constrained by the input resolution. To fix that, select the black background node itself, swap over to the image section in the inspector, uncheck auto resolution, and then drag the slider for width all the way up to the maximum, so it's fixed. Now, select the rectangle mask again, open the spline editor, select the height keyframes, and press S for smooth easing. So now we need that zooming effect that happens during the slide. So I will add a new transform node after the rotation node and rename it with zoom. Then go to frame 168. Just as the black bar is almost fully revealed, add a keyframe for size, then go a couple of frames forward and increase the size value to around 1.3. So open spline for this zoom node, select the keyframes, and adjust the graph. Maybe press S, then Ctrl+T and add some ease out. After that, go to the Settings tab and apply the motion blur. So now let's add the text that appears inside the black bar. For that, add a new Text Plus node. We want it to rotate with the main content, so connect it before the 90-degree rotation. Transform node we added earlier. This will give it some of that rotation animation automatically. Now, type your word. In my case, it's that separates. Swap to the Layout tab and decrease the Z rotation value to 90 degrees to make it vertical and oriented correctly after the main rotation. Now go and change the font and maybe decrease the tracking as well. Then, back to the Layout tab and change the X value of the center to make sure the text is in the middle of the screen horizontally. Then go back to the Text section, or Tools. Press right-click on the text input and choose Character Level Styling. Then swap to the Modifiers tab. To select the second word, you might need to just drag the text in the viewer until you can highlight only Separate. Swap to modify it. Then increase the size for just this selected word to make it bigger than the first one. After that, right-click in the text input in the inspector and press Follower. Change the order to Manual Curve again. Then go to the frame where you want this text animation to start. maybe around frame 170 as the bar settles. Go to the Manual Curve Timing section. Select the first word, that, set a keyframe for Delay by Character at 0, and press the button. Then, increase the value of delay to 8 as before. Select the second word, Separates, and press the button again. Now go and open the spline editor, select the follower delay keyframes, and press the stepped curve button again. Now, let's make the fade in by swapping to the Shading tab. At the start frame, decrease the value of opacity to 0 and put a keyframe. Then go a couple of frames forward and increase the value back to 1. So now it's time to make the next animation transition. For that, we need to add again a new transform node. So select your zoom node and press the transform node icon to add one after it. Rename this to something like flip left. Go about 3 frames before the zoom effect ends. And put keyframes for rotation angle on this flip left node. Then move forward to around frame 205. Now decrease the rotation angle value. To get the same look as the reference, which seems to rotate around a lower point, you might need to decrease the pivot Y value also. Just adjust the rotation and pivot point together to get the result you like. For me, I ended up with a rotation value of about 7.9 degrees and a pivot Y value of about 3.3. As usually, open spline for this node, select the keyframe, press S, and make the animation smooth with easing. Then swap to the Settings tab to apply the motion blur for this node too. After that, let's make the next word appear. So, drag a new Text Plus node to the workspace. Connect its output to the output of the Zoom node, so it appears before the flip left transform affects it. Then let's write our word. It's mediocrity. Then let's drag the position over to the left side where we can see it initially, and change the color as well. Swap to the Layout tab to change the rotation Z value to get it in the right place. After that, return to the Text tab, Tools, and scale it up to the desired size and then change the font. For the animation, it's a simple fade in. So go to the frame where you want the fade effect to start, swap to the Shading tab, put a keyframe for opacity, and drag the slider to hit 0. Then go a couple of frames forward and increase the value back to 1. Open spline, select the opacity keyframes, press S for easing, and maybe increase the value of easing a bit using Ctrl+T. Also, you can maybe decrease the value of tracking slightly on this text to give a better shape or feel. So now let's move to the final animation where it's going right off the screen. So, as usual, add a new transform node after the flip left node. Go 2 frames before the last flip left animation keyframe ends, and then add a keyframe for the center on this new node. Then go to the frame where you want the video to finally end, and drag the X value of the center slider all the way to the right to make sure the black slide and everything else is gone. But if you notice the previous text, Generate You, and the money image showing up again during this final move, we need to fade them out. To fix that, just select the merge node that combines the money and the Generate You text, go around frame 200 before the final transition starts. Put a keyframe for blend at 1, then go 1 frame forward and put the value down to 0. And that should fix the problem. So now let's add the very last text. Drag a Text Plus node to the workspace and connect it with the flip left node output, so it appears before the final write-off transition. Now, all we have to do is write the text, which is excellence, and maybe change the color if needed. Then drag the position over to the right side to fit the right place. Change the font as well. After that, you just need to fix the position and size as you need. Then return to the frame where it's going to show up, then swap to opacity to make a fade-in effect just like we did for mediocrity. 0 opacity keyframe, go forward a couple frames, 1 opacity keyframe. Alright, now select that last transform node we created. Go ahead and swap over to the Settings tab and you'll want to apply the motion blur. Just check that box, maybe bump up the quality a bit. And then open the spline editor. We're going to make that animation smoother here. You know, where we didn't really finesse the curve before we added the text on top. So for the last step, let's make the text inside the black bar that separates disappear as the bar slides off. Go to the frame where you want it to start to disappear. Select the merge node that adds the black bar itself, and put a keyframe for blend at 1. Go forward a couple of frames and drag that blend slider down to 0. So that's it. Don't forget to subscribe and share, and if someone knows how to make that text lighting animation, please write that in the comments and let me know the way. See you in the next video.